Hey, sports fans, PBnZ Sports Chaos. We got a little midweek show for you. You know why? Because we want to recap a little March Madness, what's happened so far, and what's been crazy, turbulent, unbelievable tournament. We got to talk about the NFL Carnival. It's been a tilt-a-wheel, twist and turns everywhere. Since we last spoke, the past went bonanzas. And, of course, we had some other signings. And then we're going to talk about the other side of the NFL, Deshaun Watson. And, of course, we're up to the Frozen Four, PB's favorite time of the sports year. He's going to run through his picks for the Frozen Four. All right, PB, let's go. March Madness. Whoever saw this coming? We had double-digit seeds win every single seed except for the 16th. You had a 15, you had two 14s, you had one 13, one 12, two 11s, two 10s, and even a 9 for the heck of it. That's unbelievable, right? Who saw this? I mean, I guess I did because of the crazy year, but wow. Gonzaga, though, they still look like the team to beat. You picked them. I have in my secondary bracket. I will say this. I watched the game against OU. If OU had anybody could throw the ball in the ocean, they might have had a better shot in that game. They gave up. They missed about 12 bunnies in the game. They might have made a difference. So we'll see. Looks like them. And by the way, the Big Ten. What? WTF. 9 teams go in. 1 team leaves the first round of the first weekend, right? Michigan, that's it. That in the Big 12, they had 7. They only got 1 team going on as well. The Pac-12, who we all make fun of, sends 5 teams. They got 4 going to the Sweet 16. And 2 of them, I think, look pretty impressive. What's your thoughts so far?
Yeah, and one of those teams is Oregon. They've looked pretty impressive so far in the tournament. I think they could win the next game as well.
Well, hang on. That's a DYK for you. Because they play who I thought was one of the wild cards. We talked about it last week because of their length. USC, first time ever, 2 Pac-12 teams have played each other in the tournament. Did you know that?
In the Sweet 16 or later?
Or the whole tournament.
Oh, really? Wow.
No Pac-10, when there was the Pac-8, the Pac-10, the Pac-12, none of them have ever matched up before.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I can't believe that. That's crazy.
But I'm with you. Oregon has a pretty easy shot, if they can get by. Actually, Oregon State, I think, has an easier shot. I think Oregon's going to have a tough matchup with USC, and then they're going to play Gonzaga after that. Obviously, if Gonzaga wins their match. But I think Oregon State, the only thing they got in front of them is Houston, and I'm not sold on Houston at this point in time. They didn't make my Final Four.
Yeah. The other team that's really looking good, too, on the floor right now is Alabama. And they could – I even mentioned them back, before the tournament, not in our preview show, but back before that when we were getting ready for it. I watched them play a couple times this year, and I really like what they're doing. So
they're hitting their shots, man. Wow, imagine if they go back, they win the NCAAs after winning the football championship. First time ever, I think, that you had back-to-back football and basketball in the same year from the same school. So
but they also have to get through Zaga, right, in the Final Four to get to the final because they're on that. So
Gonzaga, I have Gonzaga. I had them playing either Texas or Michigan. I thought Michigan might lose to LSU. LSU looked good for a while last night, and then they fell apart. Michigan has a chances too, but they're a Big Ten team. I'm not sold in the Big Ten anymore, so we'll see.
Yeah.
You know what? If you ask me who you'd like to see, I would say Loyola of Chicago.
Yeah, I know. I would like to see that as well. But if you had to ask me my Final Four, it's Gonzaga and Bama on one side, and it's Baylor, Houston on the other. I mean,
I would agree with you. I would agree.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that. Hey, by the way, the women's are playing. They've already had some big upsets. Usually the women are more chalk than men are, right? Historically, it goes right to the chalk with women from day one. They've already had 13, 12, and 11 and 1. And all the talk I'm hearing on sports radio and TV is the 2s are probably better than the 1s in this tournament. So we'll see. Women could have an exciting tournament as well. Good for them. By the way, Gino Auriemma, the UConn coach, 2 games he has to miss due to COVID. Could be a factor, right? All right, let's move on to the NFL. We're going to talk about Bill's Christmas shopping spree he did for the Pats and Mr. Kraft's money, $137 million guaranteed. One quickie before we get to DeShaun, because that's the news of the day. Josh Gordon wants back in the NFL, PB, and he says, I don't quit. There's no quitting me. I got one thing to say to you, Josh. Just quit the dope, dude. If you just quit that, you'd be in the NFL. What do you mean you don't quit? Come on. That's probably his problem. He can't quit the dope. Oh, all right. Deshaun Watson. This story, PB, I gotta say, it's 13 civil lawsuits.
They just keep coming. It's I just don't know what's going on with that whole situation. It's hard to tell right now. He's saying that he's innocent. He's not really admitting to anything, right? So it just makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder. But when that many people come forward with something like this, it just doesn't look good. And I'm kind of surprised because the allegations have to be somewhat weak. And the reason why I say that is because it seems like in the last 4 years, 3 or 4 years, every time something even surfaced small, the NFL would be all over it, full-blown investigation. The team typically would release the player, right? They would say, we're not dealing with this crap. We're releasing the player, and then that's it. And then that player's got to deal with the whole repercussions of it. For some reason, this time around, they're not released. And now it could be Houston's overall stupidity as a franchise that we always talk about. But why aren't they just saying, Deshaun, we don't need this crap in our organization? Like, you're released. Just release the guy. They're not doing that. They're holding on to him. So are they doing that because they're just selfishly wanting him to be their quarterback, just like they have with the whole free agency and the whole, not free agency, but the whole him potentially needing to be traded and all that?
Right.
And we're going to keep, are they being selfish like that? Or is there something there that just says, this doesn't look right. This just doesn't look right on the way these things are coming in, and we're not going to make a move until we know more.
And PB, to that point, I will say this: 13 accusers have come forward, only one attorney representing all 13, and there's no criminal suit yet. Not one of them were criminal at all. You couldn't go to the police for any of them. So my question is, where's the smoking gun? Or more importantly, where's the Monica stained dress at the end of the day that gets him guilty?
Right. This could be this could be just a ploy to get money. I mean, I don't have any evidence to show anything otherwise. I don't know what this thing is all about right now. There's too much like you said, until there's a smoking gun or until there's some stuff that comes out that's a little bit more incriminating. I'm going to hold my opinion, really.
By the way, does this officially make Houston the worst sports city in America? First, you had the cheating Astros, right? The pukes.
Yeah.
Then you get the Rockets, who couldn't keep Harden. They go ahead and they've lost 20 games now. Who knows when they're going to be able to resurface? And now the Texans, who first started with the ownership issue, people wanted out like DeShaun and J.J. Watt. Now Houston's going to be the worst sports city in America right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. And, of course, they lost Andre last year. So all their star players in that city are just gone. Altuve is the only guy they got left. They got to hang their hat on Altuve.
Hopefully he doesn't come out with the hidden video that he had. All right. Hey, let's talk about the Pats. I mean, Belichick went berserk with Kraft checkbook, right? Signed 8-9 guys, got a trade, brought Trent Brown back. They got Kyle Van Noy back. I mean, did they make enough moves to make you think they could do something better this year?
I mean, it's all going to really depend on the quarterback. I think their defense with the players coming back, granted, Chung retired, but the rest of the defense, if they come back, they got Van Noy back too, right?
Yeah, they just signed him last week. The Dolphins cut him after 1 year. Yep.
I think their defense can certainly be top 5 in the NFL, but I just don't see their offense. Yeah, they got a couple linemen or whatever, but they need to replace linemen anyways. They lost Tooney. They signed Andrews, right? They signed Trent Brown.
That was huge. He had his best year ever when he played for the Pats.
Yeah. So I think in the trenches they'll be okay. I think their running game will be okay. But in today's NFL, those kind of teams aren't the types of teams that are winning football games anymore. So they'll win games.
They did get 2 tight ends. They didn't have any tight ends. I like Jonnu Smith from the Titans. Hunter, I loved Hunter Henry all along at the Chargers. So that's an upgrade there. Right. Not quite Gronk Hernandez, but pretty darn close.
Yeah. They'll be the type of team that can beat any team on any day. But they won't be the type of team that can make a Super Bowl run. But they'll run into.
It's all up to Cam Newton.
I know, and that's why I don't like. Yeah. Now, if the Patriots get Mac Jones at 15 or trade up and get Mac Jones, now you're talking about a different story because he's a prototype of Brady because he's not very athletic. He's a pocket passer. He's a smart quarterback. He's more about studying the game, his timing, his precision, all the things that Brady does well. He's not your typical, Trey Lance athlete type guy.
Correct. Mel Kiper's 3.0 came out today. He does have him slipping to 15 to the pass. We'll see what happens there. I don't know.
I think he'll have to trade up to get him.
Tooney moved on to Kansas City. They paid a crap load of money for him at a guard position when they really need to get tackles. And by the way, they also brought back, they signed Kyle Long, who'd been out for a year, retired and came back as a guard. The Chiefs did nothing to cure their problem in the Super Bowl, which is the tackle position, which they cut their starters, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what KC's doing over there.
Yeah, Mahomes could be running for his life again.
And by the way, some people like the Giants. What do you think of that move? I mean, they made a couple good moves, but Galladay got what, $80 million?
Yeah, overpaid for him for sure. Yeah, yeah. They're Daniel Jones. I think they want to try to give him some weapons to maybe see if they can win that division. I mean, the only thing they got going for them is the division's kind of weak. Philly just outright sucks. And then you have Washington, who could probably be the best team in the division, but Dallas with Dak could be also one of the better teams. So the Giants at least have a shot.
In the Washington team, Fitzmagic, watch out. Yeah. Who knows, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, Drew Brees retired. He's officially done. End of an era. The Saints, do you think they have enough guns to keep going here? Can they make the Super Bowl now that he's gone?
No, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
Jameis Winston's the answer. I don't know if they can get a quarterback or what, but they do have a lot of talent on the team. But no, they're not. They might not even be a playoff team next year.
Whoa! All right. Hey, by the way, Drew Brees. Let's talk about him a little bit. He's number one in passing yardage, number one in completions, number one in completions percentage, and second in touchdowns. But where do you put him in the all-time annals of quarterbacks?
Yeah, and one Super Bowl, right?
One Super Bowl.
He's not top five. He's not top five all time, but I'd say he'd be sniffing the top 10 all time. Despite
I'm with you, PB. I had to think about that. I had to write them down. Who would I put? So I had Brady, Montini, Unitas, Peyton, Rodgers, Dan Marino, Aikman, Elway, and then Breeze before I got to Brett Favre. So there you go, number 9 in a list of 10, in my opinion.
I'm good with that.
By the way, I got one question to ask you. Patrick Mahomes, everybody calls him the greatest quarterback ever. If he got in a car accident tomorrow, never could play it down again, is he in the Hall of Fame?
No, not enough. No. More about longevity and its career stats. A couple great years aren't going to get you in the Hall of Fame.
There you go. Not a Hall of Famer for those people that think Mahomes is the greatest thing on earth. All right, let's get to the Frozen Four. Your favorite thing to talk about. We get a lot of New England teams in there, right? Out of the 16 teams, what do we get? 6?
Yeah. Well, there's 3 Massachusetts teams in there: BCBU and American International.
Quinnipiac, UMass is in there as well, right?
All right, I'm sorry, UMass is in there too, right?
And there's at least 5.
Yeah.
Quinnipiac, or however you say it, they're in Connecticut.
Yeah. So yeah, let's take a look at these brackets. So 16 teams make the tournament in hockey. That's how it's always been. This year is a little weird with COVID, of course. You have a team like BU who only played 14 games all year, but still got into the tournament. And then you have a team like Wisconsin who played 28 games, so double the amount of games throughout the course of the year. So let's take a look at the one of the brackets. You have North Dakota and AIC matched up in the first round, and you have Minnesota Duluth matched up against Michigan. North Dakota's number 1 overall seed. I do like North Dakota to beat AIC in that game. And then I'm going to take a little bit of an upset here. Minnesota Duluth, I will take them over Michigan, despite Michigan's higher ranking. But Minnesota Duluth's been there in the Final Four and even in the finals, 2 of the last 3 tournaments or 3.
Yeah, they're no slouch.
They're no slouch at all. So I got North Dakota Duluth coming out there. And then in the other bracket, I have Wisconsin over Bemidji State. And I have UMass beating Lake Superior State.
Whoa, Lake Superior State, who I believe has won this thing before in the past at one point in time, right?
Yeah, they may have won, but they do have a strong team. But I do like UMass to beat them. UMass has a great defense.
Okay.
Only allowing 1.89 goals per game this year. So
okay.
I think they can beat Lake Superior State. Let's now look at those. So now we have North Dakota and Minnesota Duluth. I do have North Dakota winning that game. And I do have Wisconsin beating UMass. So despite UMass's strength on defense, Wisconsin is just a powerhouse offense. They're the fourth top scoring team in all of the nation, led by Cole Caulfield, who is number one in the entire country in points per game. He has 1.63 points per game. So in the top 2 or 3 in goals scored. Incidentally,
they're a traditional power. Wisconsin's a traditional power. They're always in the tournament.
Yep, they're always there. He's actually belongs to the Montreal Canadiens. He was drafted 15th overall in 2019.
Oh, so they could use him.
So yeah. So then you have Wisconsin and North Dakota playing in that final out of that bracket, and I do have North Dakota winning that and going to the finals. North Dakota is just, they have their top 3 gunners. You got Shane Pinto. He's a big kid, 6'2", 192. That's a pretty good size for a hockey player.
Yeah.
Adams and Jordan Kawaguchi. Those 3 guys combined are the reason why they're averaging nearly 4 goals a game. So there you go with your representative out of that bracket in the final. I have North Dakota.
Okay. All right. Now what do you got?
On the other side, we got Minnesota against Omaha. I do have Minnesota coming out. Minnesota's actually in the top 3 in both offense and defense. They score 3.82 goals a game. They only allow 1.86 goals per game. So I do have them beating Omaha. Then you have Minnesota State, who's one of the big surprises in the tournament this year. I wouldn't be surprised if this team makes a push and even gets past BC and gets into the final. I'm not picking that, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's what happened.
Wow, Minnesota State. Okay.
They're 7th in the nation in scoring, 3.69 goals per game. But here's the thing. They only allow 1.06 goals per game.
They have great goaltending. Good
the next best team is the aforementioned Minnesota Gophers. They allow 1.86 goals per game.
So a half goal better.
1.06. It's almost a goal difference. It's like another goal to even get to the next team in the rankings. It's crazy. Here's the thing. This is an interesting little stat. Minnesota State's goalie, by the way, they're located in Mankato, Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
They're the Mavericks. Their goalie, his name is Dryden McKay. Okay? I got to thinking, Dryden McKay. Remember Kenny Dryden?
Yeah, Kenny Dryden.
So I said, maybe there's some affiliation there. So I looked it up. He was born in Illinois, but his parents are both Canadian.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that he was probably named after Kenny Dryden, who has a first name Dryden, right? So his name's Dryden. Here's an interesting stat. His father, Ross McKay, played 1 game in the NHL in his career.
Really?
As a goalie. He was a goalie. He played in 1991 for the Hartford Whalers. 1 game.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
wow.
So a little fun fact. Yeah, but this kid's the real deal in net. So I like winning that game. Now down into the BC BU bracket. So you got BC playing Notre Dame. They should smoke them. Notre Dame barely got in there, 14-12 this year. I could see other teams getting in, but they got in. BC smokes them. Then you have BU against St. Cloud. I do like BU in that game, which puts BC BU into that next bracket.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back up. I'm going to take, this is another big upset in the tournament. I got Minnesota State beating Minnesota.
You do, huh?
Final 4. Yeah. And then I also have BC getting past BU. BC clearly the better team on paper, but this year they played BU twice. They beat them once in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
The other time they lost to them 3-1. So BU can certainly beat BC.
Sure.
But BC, to me, has too much firepower. Their goalie, Spencer Knight, he's an animal. He's 2.13 goals against average. He has a 93.3% save percentage. By the way, he was drafted 13th, 2 spots before the aforementioned Caulfield that went to the Canadiens. Same draft, 13th overall to the Florida Panthers.
Okay.
He's property of the Panthers. And then his teammate, actually 1 spot ahead of him at 12th in that same draft, Matt Boldy. He's number 4 in the country in points per game, 1.42. He has 10 goals, 20 assists. Good player. So between him on offense, Spencer Knight in the nets, I do have BC getting past BU, which the BC Minnesota State to get
semifinal.
Yeah, semifinal. This is tough. I like I said, Minnesota State just they can do some good things here. I'm going to take Boston College to make it to the final against North Dakota.
Oh, okay.
There's my final pick, and I've been going back and forth all day, fans. I just can't. I can't legitimately give you a winner and stand behind it because I think both those teams are evenly matched. I look for a good 3-3, 4-4 type game, maybe even an overtime game for that final. And it's really going to be a deflection off a skate or something like that that's going to win this thing. I mean, it's that close. It's a coin flip to me. But being a homer, I'm going to say BC brings the national championship.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. By the way, on the other side, I think I like Michigan better.
Okay, yeah, I had them getting upset by Minnesota Duluth in the first round. So
I know it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see. I got BC as well. All right, man. Nice. There's our Frozen Four picks. So that starts this weekend, PB, right?
Yeah, the first set of games is Friday, Saturday, I believe it is. I believe it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They're doing something like basketball was doing, I believe. But yeah.
And then they usually conclude after the NCAA tournament, right? The following weekend.
Yeah, they usually take like 2 weeks off before they go to their final or even their semifinals. So I think they might get to that Final Four after this weekend, and then they'll take 2 weeks off and go into their two semi games in their final.
All right, so upcoming, we got a little baseball talk, right? Season starts next Wednesday, right? Next Thursday.
Yeah, we do Friday night. We're going to do a show. We're going to do our draft, fantasy draft special. And for those of you into fantasy for baseball, I have my draft Thursday night for fantasy baseball. So we'll talk that. And then maybe we'll do a separate show with our predictions and we'll show the fantasy. Maybe we'll do that.
All right. I like it.
Right. Okay.
Nice. All right. Here we go. Let's see a little more March Madness. Both the men's and the women, and we get the Frozen Four. And as we know, the quarterback carousel is going to keep spinning in the NFL. More to come on that. Hopefully, DeShaun won't be in prison next time we talk. All right, sports fans, we'll talk to you shortly. Have a good one. Take care, PB.